Hello and welcome to the Brett Tippie podcast, brought to you by Ride Wrap. I'm Brett Tippie and I'm here with my good buddy Ali DeLulo from Italy. How are you, man?
I'm pretty good. Stoked to be with you.
Right on. We're on a road trip right now. We're in Flagstaff, Arizona, and we just did Sea Otter and Rampage. And Dr. Joe Willerson from True Dentistry has sponsored us with his Sprinter van and his 1000 Turbo Can-Am side-by-side Razor dune buggy, and we've been trucking all over the mountains and shooting some photos.
Not your average Dr. Joe.
Not your average Dr. Joe, totally. And we're here in the beautiful B&B from Chris from Flagstaff, who has provided us with a wicked venue to have a good talk about mountain biking.
Of course.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
So Ali DeLulo is a World Cup downhill photographer, free ride photographer, Rampage photographer, fest photographer, Crankworks photographer. He's got a huge client list over the years. He's worked for Monster, Kona, YT, Fox, Shimano, Adidas, Alpenstars, AMG, Mercedes, Bosch, Cannondale, Camelback, Continental, Dainese, Deuter, ESPN, X Games, Envy, Evoc, Freeride Entertainment, Marizocchi, Patagonia, Red Bull Media House, Rocky Mountain Health Specialized, SRAM, MGB. I could go on, but you know, a lot of people. And you've shot with like all the big names in downhill and free ride, like Brett Tippie.
Absolutely.
And you've been doing this for a long time, and I'm sure you've seen his name in magazines and in websites for many years. So one of the big dogs in mountain bike photography, and we're going to have a chat. So let's go back to the beginning, though, before we get into your career, which I might add that you've also won like Crankworks Deep Summer, Whistler Ski and Snowboard, Festival Pro Photographer Shootout, and you've won, or the first photographer to win a Red Bull Illuma Award, one of the most prestigious, photography, action sports photography contests in the world. But, you know, you're a mountain biker yourself. Where was your first bike yourself?
My first bike was when I was a kid. You know, I had this full suspension bike, but it was like a prototype. You know, it was like 81 probably. I was 6, so it was 81, 82. So it was this double suspended with shock that you had to put some kind of gas that you were buying to this dealer.
Wait, your first bike was a full suspension?
Yeah. Like a kid one. You know, the shifter was not even on the handlebar, was on the top tube. It was like like a car kind of thing.
3-speed?
Yeah, 3-speed, 1, 2, 3, and that was the shifter, so I was very prototype.
Did you have a fake gas tank on it?
Can't remember that, but probably.
Did it have fenders?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mandatory fenders.
Yeah. That's cool. I wanted one of those. What was your first mountain bike?
First mountain bike was a Klein Mantra. I think it was an American bike. Klein, that actually now is a part of the Trek group, but they kind of shut it down. It was a double suspended bike, and that was the first fun that I had on a bike. Yeah.
So you live and ride in Lake Garda in northern Italy, which is rocky. Yeah. Loose rock, solid rock on top of rock, followed by more rock.
All about rocks.
Yeah. It's gnarly.
Yeah, it is.
You have to be a good rider to ride there because it's challenging. Yeah, and there's like 2,000-foot cliffs everywhere.
Oh, yeah. It's pretty vertical. It's steep and rocky, as you said. You know, all the rocks, and especially they're like slippery. Even when they're dry, like completely dry, they look like doable. And then it's like as slippery as like some other rocks on wet.
Yeah, it's not like that sandpaper, texture like we were riding today. It's just smooth, polished rock.
Super polished.
When it gets wet, it's nasty.
Absolutely. And you get some skills out there. You usually don't get really scared with rock gardens whenever in the world you find rocks. But, to get the speed and the flow, it took me a few years to get, like a few tracks around the world, because in Garda, there's definitely no flow.
Yeah, totally. Now, before you became a World Cup photographer and a big-time free ride photographer, you were kind of a video guy, I believe, at the beginning. But you went to university and took industrial design. What did you take?
Yeah. As I did. High school was like artistic high school, so I was painting. I was like doing sculpture. was doing some architecture project, was kind of all the arts. And and then the natural progression of that was this university that in Italy we call industrial design, but it's not as in the US, which is more like a engineering kind of thing. Was more in Italy is more like, again, on the arts, and at that point was the beginning of the 2000. It was the new economy, the internet, social media were not a thing yet, but it was just before that. So we were doing the interfaces, graphic design, videos and photos, and all the digital images that came out of the university, being able to use Photoshop, Premiere, and Illustrator, and all the graphic, CorelDRAW, software that doesn't exist anymore. But I got the basis to do pretty much everything in what are all the medias right now.
Yeah. Ahead of your time there.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I was like one of the few that was able to build a website and sell it for big money back then.
Yeah.
Now website is a few hundreds, but back then was a few thousands.
Well, I heard you sold one website for like 10,000 plus a camera.
Yeah. Well, like a very simple website, and I sold it to a local. What was that? Like a local media store kind of thing, and I made their website, and I asked to actually, as a partial payment, a Canon G1. That was the first one of the first consumer camera. It was 2001. Digital cameras from Canon. That was actually at a good price, and then is when photography started again for me, because I was into filming. My family always been into filming and using cameras with films. So I went when I was a kid. I got used to exposure and all the the shutter speed and all that kind of stuff. And I've been into some dark rooms, So I was kind of familiar with all the process, but it was such a process, It was like, really. So I never really thought it was possible to make a profession out of film photography.
Yeah.
Because of the complexity of the thing, and but when digital came out, and I was able to use all the softwares and better than most back then, and so I was like, wow, this is a new beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you were doing a lot of video, and then you went to your first World Cup in Pila, Italy, 2004.
Yep.
And you were like people didn't have social media. They didn't need videos, really.
No, exactly.
Like there was a few big movies out, every year, New World Disorder and Cranked and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But with videos, people didn't read the content like that.
They didn't need it. It was just one big movie at the end of the year, like a different one.
Yeah.
Writers back then were working on a segment for 1 year.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Yeah.
And that's it. And nobody knew anything about the segment before the premiere of the actual movie.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And so back then we were able to do this movie, this edit. Everybody liked it, but we were like, yeah, awesome, but we don't know how to use it,
So you said, I'm going to get into photography instead.
Yeah, so I said that photography was not like, I loved it, and I was like looking at the photographers back then. There was Sterl, there was like Sven Martin, and Victor Lucas was doing great things with Dirt Magazine, and Decline was showcasing great photography with flashes and special effects, and I really like it. And it was definitely, the culture was coming from the 90s, that kind of flashy photos, like close up and a lot of action, distortion, coming from skateboard probably, and all the other action part, and I got hooked. So I put together a team with like classmates, and at the same university, so everybody was, good to use, able to use software and filming and everything. So I put together this little team called Grip Communication, and we started. I figured out if I was shooting just friends on their bikes, was probably nobody would have been interested. Even my photos were amazing, so I started to see, hey, where are the pro riders going? Can I go to shoot them? So maybe I can propose the photo to somebody. So I figured out the workout were happening really close to my house in Pila and in Val di Sole and in Leogang, in Caprun a few years before, in Maribor. It's literally like everything is no more than 5 hours from my house. And so I started, and I paid my first trips being a bartender, studying and being a bartender during the weekend, so I could get some money. And I paid my first trips to 26 Tricks, to work at Maribor, and I gave a chance to
invested in yourself.
Yeah, invested in myself. I really believed that I could reach a good level in photos, and it kind of worked out.
You had a good break when you went to Catania to the Red Bull district.
Yeah.
And you met Tarek Rassouli.
Absolutely.
From Resolution.
Absolutely.
Who, helped the FMB tour.
Yeah. Tarek was fundamental in my career. He actually gave me the first opportunity. I met him down in Catania. I was helping back then the director of the event, the actual director of the whole live stream. And so I got to meet the Red Bull people in Italy, and I got to meet especially Tarek, that... we had a fun night together, and then the next year, I remember that I was driving somewhere, and I got this call from Germany. It was like, who's this? And it was Tarek, and hey, you always said that you would love to be a professional mountain bike photographer. Would you like to try to shoot 26 Tricks this year together with Matthias Fredriksson?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Big dog.
I was like, whoa. Sure,
And 26 Tricks had all the big slopestylers at the time.
Oh, totally.
Sending it.
Chemical. I remember I got there, and there was Lance McDermott. I remember this. There was Lance McDermott, big front flip man. Back in the days, kind of faded away, but it was a serious contender back then. But it was like, it was trying every jump, it was figuring out every jump, just going straight. And then, it was kind of struggling. Then in the final round, he killed it. He got second or third. But then McCall came there, and he just grabbed his bike, just jet lag, just arrived, and he just rode the whole line, super flowy. I was like, whoa, awesome.
Sick.
Sunset, and I got the first silhouette shot with him. And that was like, I have a silhouette shot of Chemical. Nobody can even say that it's Chemical, but I know it.
Yeah.
Nice bag, a nice sunset, like all the clouds. Yeah. It was a good session, and then I learned a lot from Matthias, just watching working.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Then you had a breakthrough at Lavigno at a Kona presentation.
Oh yeah,
and
that was the same season. I wasn't paid to get there. Oh no, actually, I was coming back from Qashqai, which was one of the event, Qashqai Urban Challenge in Paris, and I paid for the whole thing. I just asked to Tarek because I was just at the beginning, so he gave me the chance at 26 Tricks, but for the biggest event, he was still working with the big dogs, and I respected that. I just asked him to have a pass, and I was, and I was just paying for my whole trip and accommodation and everything, and just went there to get shot of good riders and good events, and was cool back then. And so on the way back, there was this in Livigno, there was this Kona press camp, and I knew about that, and I kind of sneaked in because there was no magazine was sending me there, but I pretended, I said I'm working for Marzocchi, but I actually was together with Tarek, who gave me the very first big contract to keep an eye on everything. It was with Marzocchi, Francesco Marzari, back then was the marketing manager in Italy, and he gave me the chance to follow the events and their riders. Back then were like a huge roster of riders, like the best in the world. And so there was this presentation at Kona and Livigno, and I kind of sneaked in, and there was Robbie Bordo, there was Andreu, Luis Lacondeghi, there was Chopper Fielder, and all the Kona crew.
Paul Bass.
Paul B, absolutely, I was going to say. And then I got, during the night shooting, I got this shot of Paul B with the flashes and the thunder. I mean, the storm was coming, so very moody and kind of a lucky shot, but it happened at the right time because, I was confirmed with Marzocchi the next year that Bryson really liked that shot. And so it was kind of that shot that kind of changed I know.
The table's kind of shaky.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Very stormy shot.
Creating the mood. Yeah. So.
And so that lucky shot during the storm with the flash.
Yeah. Kind of, turn it out.
They loved
things
it
in the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, with another stepping stone in your career.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks to Paul B. Absolutely.
So then, with Francesco and Marzocchi hiring you, then you met Bryson and JP.
Yeah.
And
I met yourself.
And met me, and Richie and Wade and everybody.
That was in my hometown in Riva del Garda, because it's every year there's a festival there, and it's a kind of the opening season for Europe, and a lot of Canadians love it, and a lot of international riders and the industry go there.
I hadn't been there for years. I went there all the time as a pro rider back in the day, but I hadn't been there for a while because I took some time off to do some bad things. But then I came there and hung out with you, and we went riding, went shuttling up, and you can shuttle up like 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 feet.
Oh yeah,
big long runs.
Oh yeah,
and we shot and
big long drives.
Big long drives with big long descents.
Yeah.
Brake burners, total brake burners.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
Brake pad burners.
And they break every. Garda is like for testing industry. If you're there, if you want to test stuff, go to Garda. It's just really.
All the shops are full of broken everything.
Oh, yeah. Every time you get something broken. Still.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, no, I remember that. Riva's super fun, and it's the beginning of the season. Everyone sees each other. It's the biggest outdoor European mountain bike festival there is. Kind of like a trade show, and they have some races and tons of photo shoots and stuff. It's a spectacle. Yeah, I remember me and Richie were like, "Hey, this LA guy's pretty good, man." And you're fun to hang out with. So then that's when we started shooting together.
Yeah, totally.
So you went on to do many different things. When was your first World Cup? Was in Pila in 2004. But when was your you were just shooting some video. You switched over to photographs. When was your first World Cup downhill, like shooting professionally?
Yeah, so I got this Andrew Dunn from mountain biking UK. We were in touch somehow. I don't remember really how, but he gave me this. I probably proposed him some photos. I showed him some photos that I took probably at the World Cup before, or like here and there, maybe in Catania. So I gave, hey, you going to Maribor? You want to shoot for us? We want to propose some photos? Absolutely. So there was back then was a Pittino. There was like an Italian rider, World Cup rider, and we went together. We split the cost, super super cheap, and that's how kind of started.
So after all these years of shooting a World Cup, you just shot the World Cup this year. Shooting all the legends, Aaron Gwynn and Danny Hart and Menard and Petey and
Sam Hill,
like
Chris Kovarik,
shooting all the legends, right? Like,
absolutely.
There's a lot of pressure because you've got people that are paying you, to shoot the event, but you've got to shoot these certain riders.
Yeah.
And you have one chance.
Oh, yeah, totally.
So the pressure's on.
World Cup is not, you don't have one chance, but you better get that chance that you have. You can...
you got some practice and qualifying and then finals.
Yeah, but, sometimes the rider just stop in front of you because he's checking the course in practice, Like Samuel is the king. Especially when you work for Monster. It's not on purpose, of course, but, it happens always that he just chilling in front of you, and then the rest of the course is just pinning it, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
awesome
yeah.
to shoot it, and he just stop in front. Maybe he's even ask you, where are the others going? You know,
Yeah.
and you're like,
Oh man, yeah, that's
It's like-
funny. But it's also really rainy quite often in Europe, so you're in there with all your expensive
oh,
camera
you
gear.
gotta be prepared for sure. Like Fort William, nightmare. You got the rain, you got the fog, you got the wind, the cold, and the midges.
The bugs,
No, midges.
Midges.
It's different. Like fruit flies. Well, you guys know what a midges is.
they're like gnats, aren't they?
Yeah, you don't even see them. You know, like fruit flies. You know, but they bite. And if you're not used to, you know, locals are. It's not so bad for locals, but if you're not used to, I remember one year. Yeah, it's probably this cat, and I had a line of bites all year, and it lasts for like 3 weeks, and he got like itchy and nasty, and all over the face. I was like the elephant man or something.
And you got to be still and
Yeah,
and
because
focused
you are
and
the easy target for the midges. You're there and waiting. You know?
frozen. Yeah. Free lunch.
The rider is just going. You know.
Yeah.
They maybe stop a second, then you go. You're just
Oh man.
so gnarly.
So a lot of these races have repeats, and they're like classics, right? Like Mont Saint Anne and
Yeah.
Fort William, and you know, many of them are repeats. So you get to know what angles work and don't work. So you have your spots for like good light or bad, like open or in the trees or whatnot. So over the years, you've dialed in your spots.
Yeah, you know where the action is good. So those parts are all of us knows. You know.
Yeah.
You know those are the. But then there is still some
Secrets.
opportunities. You know, when the light is playing good in some places.
Or they change the course.
Yeah, or they change the curve. But it's always, you know, it's all about the action and the light in that moment. And then you think you're getting the same shot, but then you go back and it's not the same shot.
Yeah.
This is different. Every year is different. So there's always room for creativity, and even it can be frustrating sometimes. But then.
Well, you're hard on yourself. You want to get the killer shot, the banger, right?
Yeah. No. Just because sometimes it gets a little bit repetitive, you know, going months of time for 21 years, you know, like, you know, getting the same shot over and over in that turn. But then, you know, it's racing, and we got to tell a story in the end. It's not about a great photo. It's, great photo, but still, it has to tell a story. You cannot be full artsy, you know.
Yeah. Do you sometimes get artsy and go for a
Yeah.
pan blur or something?
A lot of-
It's a bit
yeah.
risky, right? Because you could go for a good
usually-
focus shot.
Yeah, you do it in practice usually, or but that's wrong. Yeah.
Sometimes it pays off.
Yeah, it's all about the moment. Just sometimes the light is coming in the forest, and is it in the action? So, or I don't know, crashes maybe.
Yeah.
Crashes are a part of something that you gotta get. It's not artsy, but and then the dust. It's all about the light, as everything in photography.
Yeah.
And so you gotta get the moment, but it's harder. It's harder in racing. I mean, it's easier on the side because you know that the rider's coming in between the two tapes, so that's an easy task.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Do you find young photographers are like peering over your shoulder or seeing where you go or copying your angles or traipsing behind you?
Yeah, no, not really. I mean, it's so. I mean, the photographers out there, they know what they're doing. You know, like they are mountain bikers, and they'll figure. You know, and yeah, sometimes it happens that somebody has a different angle, and yeah, maybe you see the more the kids. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, and there's also some sharing. You know, I like to share ideas and angles. You know,
Yeah.
There's progression. You know, with my colleagues, with Sven, with Boris, with Nathan Hughes, and with Fraser Britton, we like to talk and figure it out together. Sometimes, we are competitive, but we still team. And in these days, it's better work together. You know, because I think it just makes more sense.
Yeah.
I don't want to be at an event or have enemies or be worried. You know. Cock blocking somebody or just have to fight.
Yeah.
You know, But
You're friends with those guys, so and you want to be in a good environment, right?
absolutely.
And you see each other weekend out,
exactly.
all the time.
Absolutely. And so with the majority of them, that just total respect. And
Yeah.
we share and fuck it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
They all have a brain, Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it is good, at the end of the weekend, maybe you post on the 10 photos post on Instagram to show your best, and you still have the message from Sven or Boris or whoever. Number 3 is fucking good. I haven't thought about it. Good job, it's shaking.
Excitement. Yeah, no, I can see that. And, those guys all respect you and whatnot. So that's cool. And you give some respect, you get some respect, right?
Totally.
Yeah. What about your first Rampage? Was that
2010.
2010?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I made this deal with Bryson.
Bryson Martin from Marzocchi.
In 2009.
Now from DVO.
Yeah. At the time was, Marzocchi. That he would be paying for giving basically more travel budget for next year, because and hospitality at Sea Otter, Krankos Whistler, and Rampage, which was my pinnacle of events where to go.
Yeah.
Rampage and Slopestyle. Not really Sea Otter, but I wanted to go there.
Yeah.
Anyways, still a cool event. I really like the dual slalom.
Yeah.
Really. And so I made this deal, and I remember I traveled to Rampage from Valencia, California, where Marzocchi was based, with Tom Rogers, TR.
He was a legend in his own right back in the day.
Absolutely.
He used to race Tomac and Tinker.
Totally. So always on podium, always there, very strong uphill or two.
Oh, yeah.
He actually was one of the few ones that did some... I think World Cup or World Championship of uphill, when there was a time frame when it was a thing, and he kicked asses.
Oh, yeah.
So we went from Valencia to Rampage, first time in the desert for me, actually, So I was like, just the desert. I was like, just a fucking desert, bro. What are you looking at? What are you taking photo of?
Shooting away.
Yeah. And there was Vegas. I went to Interbike too, but the week before. So we went back to Valencia, and then me and TR only to Rampage. And then we stopped by at the last Walmart in Arizona, and I learned that about Utah, and about the alcohol, and and then was the first Rampage, full camping in the RV with TR, and right next to us there was Barron Club. For me, it was just like wow. And the Kyle Strafe was next door too, and I was just living a dream.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
And when you first saw Rampage, and with them practicing and sending, all the big moves and stuff, it's pretty mind blowing to see it for real the first time, eh?
Yeah, totally. And first time was mind blowing, but was just natural for me.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what I was expecting. There was Kelly McGarrett. Was actually I met him before 2007. I met Kelly pretty early, actually. Yeah.
Because you used to go to Riva all the time.
Yeah. No, I actually, his very first trip to Europe that he did was in Riva del Garda. That's how I met him, because he was riding for Marzocchi. And Francesco wasn't sure, because back then they had such a big team, and Kelly was not a top back then.
Not yet.
Not yet, yeah. But, Kelly McGarrett, he got 7th at the previous round. But, this guy's a fucking legend, So, again, we did also a little road trip in Saalbach, and still shaking, in Saalbach and Leogang, and just free riding some lines, and me shooting was actually the very, very first free ride I shot with. And then, but Rampage, I expected that. I expected that kind of action. And it was amazing, but I was still a spectator, And like 2 weeks, like last week, I had a hard time. I mean, I enjoyed the fucking event, but it was frightening for me to see all those crashes. These are all my friends right now.
Yeah, there was a lot of crashes.
Man,
big crashes.
Andreo, I wasn't there, and I see you told me that Andrea got a collarbone, I see the crash. I was like, oh my God. And then I see Carson in person because I was shooting. And Tom, oh my God. He did the most insane thing, and I just crashed on the backflip on the easy thing after. And I was like, now it's totally different. What I'm saying now, I'm more involved.
Yeah.
Personally.
More emotionally invested.
I know these guys, I've seen most of them when they were kids. And back then, I was still a fan. I was just respecting them. Kelly McGarrett crashed hard. I was really worried. I've always been worried. I've always been running there. But there was a different kind of level.
Yeah.
I was worried, but I was still a fan. Now I'm more like a friend,
Really. Yeah. Well, you've known these guys for a long time.
Yeah,
years
exactly.
and years out, and shot with them and traveled with them and had dinner with them and, conversations. So, for sure.
Very different.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, Rampage is real. And when it all goes well, it's all stoke and high fives, but it doesn't always go well. Mm-hmm. And that's the real part. And we went and visited Andreo, in his room.
I never seen Andreo like that.
With the guys.
Andreo was like this, he couldn't move.
His sternum and his collarbone.
Andreo broke his collarbone 7 times, he said. 7 or 8 times, something like that. And I remember him the next day, just, pissed off, but walking around, nothing wrong, and easy.
Yeah.
This time, Andreo was like, he could barely move. I never seen Andreo like that.
He was hurting.
Oh, my God.
I think he did something to his scapula too.
Yeah.
Shoulder blade as well. And he was not looking forward to the flight home. And
Yeah.
And he was looking good.
Yeah. So.
A lot of people were looking forward to his run.
Yep. So.
Wow. Yeah, Rampage is, it's always an emotional letdown after. It's like a hangover of adrenaline, after Rampage.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a different event. The fact of being somewhere, like a big crew, but still a small crew in the desert doing their thing.
Yeah.
Apart from all the rest of the world, that it's hard to get there. Actually, it's impossible to get there if you don't have permits, if you don't know, and it creates that magic, the crew, that if you're part of it, you understand, and it's magic. And I got that since the beginning. This is what probably Rampage would be the only event that I could keep on shooting, even if I'm not requested.
Yeah.
And I pay for,
What's that noise? You can hear it. Oh, it's a heater.
With the heater.
Yeah. Well, it's cold here in the desert. Flagstaff. What about the Fest Series?
Yeah. Fest Series.
You shoot a lot of Fest Series over the years.
Yeah.
And they're sending it there as well.
Oh, my God. Insane.
Not so much cliff drops and steeps, but more just booters.
High speed, big jumps, next level. Literally. We're talking about 35 meters long, which in 100 yards, probably. Yeah. No, sorry, 100 feet.
Sorry. Yeah.
So, it's not I remember from the kicker to the landing, it's a walk.
It's a ways to go, right?
I gotta go till there.
Yeah.
To get a different angle. So,
I remember when Adolf Silva at Royal Fest was going to do the giant front flip over the 33-meter jump, and you had to run from where you were shooting someone else to run over to the landing.
Yeah.
And it took you a while, and he was coming down the course, so you're sprinting to get there, and then you got the shot. But it was a long ways to go.
Oh, man. Insane. What they're doing is crazy. Nico Vink is really progressing the building and is doing something next level. And but guess what? It was next level since 2 years ago, because then Jackson Goldson came over in Belgium and he just rode the line at first try.
Jackson Goldstone.
12 years old. So Nico this year said that he has something different in mind, also because now there's a lot of people that have reached that level.
Yeah.
So you want to push the limit. I respect a lot of that, That's what got me passionate about mountain biking, is that.
Yeah.
The progression, pushing the limits, extreme. In the night, extreme was the thing. Now they don't use anymore because somebody can be offended, maybe. But
Extreme. You talk about my ex.
now it's action sports, but back then was extreme sport because it was the pushing the limit more you against the nature than against the others. And so what Nico and those guys are doing, and Andreu and Sorgi and Agi and are doing it's crazy. They're really pushing,
Yeah.
bringing the sport somewhere else.
Yeah, totally.
And I can see in the future these gigantic, courses. In Belgium was like, I don't know, it was probably half kilometers, like not even half a mile, long course with like 4 gigantic jumps. But imagine if this was like, 2 miles long of just this gigantic high speed.
You're in the air more than you're on the ground.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, no, it actually was like that.
Yeah.
In Belgium, there's an insane amount of airtime.
Yeah.
Insane. It was like, they counted, it was like probably 60-40. It's insane.
That's a pretty wild ratio.
Exactly. So those guys are definitely something to look at.
Yeah.
For the progression of the free ride.
And it was cool to see Jackson Goldstone, come up as a young rider and then go to the Fest Jumps. And I saw him on video, and I was totally amazed. And then he goes back to racing, and then he wins the World Cup overall and the World Championships this year in junior.
No surprise. Anyways, but yeah.
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 So cool.
Killed it.
What about Crankworks? You've done Crankworks since forever.
Yep.
And a bunch of different events, although you mostly just focused on slopestyle at the beginning. Cause
at the beginning, I didn't even know there were other events.
Oh, really? There's other events?
Crankworks slopestyle.
Yeah.
And then I got there, and Brian, why did you fly me 10 days before when the slopestyle is at the end of next week? Oh, there's a bunch of events to shoot all week. I'm like, oh, no, I thought I was going to ride all week. So I figured that.
Yeah. So, there's so many things to shoot: pump track and air downhill and
I think there are too many events.
There's a lot of events.
Yeah, I think there are just too many. I think
it's like an endurance event for the athletes.
Yeah, I think it's too many. It should be a little bit less. I'd love to see an event where there are like, like a long downhill, like a slopestyle for sure, a long downhill like the Garbanzo was. That was awesome, and maybe then a shorter downhill, like a proper 3-4 minutes downhill instead of having all the other jumping events and maybe something that is going too much toward the BMX direction. I don't think. I think we should go on. Separate more from BMX. I love BMX. You guys don't get me wrong. I grew up with Mira, Nyquist, and all those guys. I have the most passion for my BMX ever. But when BMX are coming to mountain biking and killing it, I think we should go in a different direction. Maybe like it was in the tricks, I wouldn't, even in slopestyle, I wouldn't go toward the complexity of the tricks or like the amount of spin or whatever, but more in huge jumps where a BMX cannot get, and we have double suspension, we have, like Nico's doing, pretty much. So I agree with Nico because I would go in like simpler tricks. I prefer to see a no-ender over a 35 meters, then double, triple tail whip, front flip, combination over a spine.
Yeah.
Because BMX can still do better. Even if Emil right now is actually killing it, he's probably even he's doing tricks that are even better than BMXers. So probably. It's never black and white.
No, it's true. What about the Deep Summer photo contest at Crankworks? Let's talk about that. Awesome. Now, this is a contest that, has been very sought after. And, you actually won the darn thing. And it was Zink and Andreu, Gully, Richie, myself,
And all the
and Ollie Jones.
Yeah.
And you told a story about Andreo coming to Whistler and hooking up with all of us who had
The outsider.
you were kind of live there, and we only shot for 11 hours.
Out of 3 days, yes.
Yeah, another 3 days, and then you edited it up.
Yeah.
Good tune, and
Yeah, I think that
it was full on.
the key there was like talking with Blake Jorgensen, because he won. He never won this because he's not a mountain bike photographer. It's more like a ski. I mean, he does insane stuff in mountain bike, but it's not. He's never competed.
Not his
that.
focus.
Yeah. But he did the winter edition of that, and he won a lot of contests. The Pro Photographer Showdown as well, and. Yes, there's this key thing that is not about the photos, because everybody gets invited there. He's a good photographer, so he's gonna produce good shots. But it's about the show, So when I knew that I was part of it, I started to figure it out how to tell a story. Something a little funny, like different instead of just a slideshow. And use some good music but keep a little story, and it kind of worked out. I had this idea of at the end revealing that Andrea was actually, at the end of the slideshow, revealing that Andrea was actually dreaming.
Asleep on the bus going to Whistler.
Exactly, sleeping, and you were
The bus driver.
the bus driver.
There's old school, there's new school, then there's the bus drivers. Yeah, he was sending it though, like big Supermans, and
Yeah.
Gully had sick style. Ollie Jones was popping big, going for it.
Ollie Jones was key because he did the dirty work, because he was the guy that was available to come over, do the close-up of the wheel and try 5 times to get the right angle, all the things that maybe Andreu doesn't want to do, or you don't want to ask because he's better at other things,
Yeah.
And then you were busy
Doing some announcing for Crankworks.
announcing, so it was just perfect from the way.
Yeah, when I showed up, I remember, I had to prove my worth, to be on the team, and so I took you to that super gnarly rock that is underneath or by the Bear Cub Road. Flypaper, and I had dropped it and stuck it for Scott Markowitz, but there's no video guy there, so I went back to video with Connor McLeod, and then I crashed. And then I wanted redemption, so I brought you there, and I just ate it right in front of Andreo and Richie.
Andreo said, I don't even want to go check that line.
Yeah, he's
didn't
like,
even consider to ride that line.
He's like, never in my life I'd ride that line. And I'm like, here, I'll show you right now. And then I just ate it hard. And then I was like, whoa. And you're like, I'm not shooting this anymore. And I'm like, I'm going to go do it anyways.
And I better do it quick before I get scared.
I said that. Yeah. Then I went back up and did it right away. And then I ate it again.
Okay. And Andrea said, I seen the gnarliest crash of my life, and I seen it twice.
I was I was bruised from my back of my knee right to my shoulder blade, but kept on shooting with you guys.
Oh, yeah.
We kept on shooting.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Trespasser. We even shot Trespasser.
Yeah, we went to Trespasser.
In the night.
Yeah, at night, which that was gnarly. And then we got her done, and then you edited it up for the one day you had.
Actually, Matt Dennison edited it up.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Matt Dennison was doing the editing.
That's right.
Because I figured out that it was better to have someone else, and I did something with Matt Dennison. I love the guy, and I know that he's great, and he did a killer job.
Yeah. And then we won.
Yep.
And then we partied.
Yeah.
Yeah. In Crankworks.
Yeah. We partied.
Oh, yeah. I remember actually Elena. We were partying with Elena, and we went to the Crankworks tent, and we were dancing and partying there. And she's a little tiny school teacher who's also a cage fighter,
Yeah.
trained mixed martial artist.
Yeah, she almost killed me.
And then she ended up getting all rowdy, and she put you in a sleeper hold or something.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's funny. But we didn't expect that. But That's what happens at Crankers, like crazy things, right? Everyone's
party.
just going hard. So yeah, that was a good win, man. That's a good feather in your cap. Deep Summer, it's a big one. But another one that was a big one, because that was in 2014. In 2016, you were the first mountain biker to win a category in the Red Bull Illum Award.
Yep.
And you had a very cool angle of Aaron Chase airing over,
Just
riding the cab, riding over the cab that you're in.
the windshield, yeah. And I was shooting from his side, yeah.
Is that in New York City?
Yeah, Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn, yeah.
Yeah.
And like fisheye or wide angle, or what did you use?
Fisheye from inside the car. It was just a rental, and it was actually funny because we rent this cap device, the counter, or what you call it.
Yeah.
And it was more expensive to rent that from a movie company or whatever, the studio rental, than the car itself. So like 200 for that and 100 for the car. We fully insured because of the 16 attempts. We nailed the shot before, and we said, let's keep going. Let's see what the glass got.
And the glass never broke, though, did
Yeah.
it?
No, it did. At the 16th attempt.
On the 16th, oh, you did break the glass.
Yeah.
Oh, gee.
Yeah.
And you got the shot, and used the shot from the first time?
We got the shot on the 8th attempt, but then we kept going just to see what the glass got.
Yeah.
Let's see what it got, glass.
So how does that happen? To like, where was it held? Was it online, or like, how did you know that you won?
Oh no, there was they call you the Red Bull every the Red Bull Italy in that case, but the Red Bull Illum that is telling to Red Bull Italy to invite you there because you are in the selected finalists, the top 50, but you don't know that you won it. And so
Good thing you went.
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, went in Chicago. Great event. It was right in front of the Trump Tower. It was 2016.
Oh wow.
Just before.
And it's normally won by like surf photographers or skateboard photographers or ski photographers.
That's the cool thing of because it's just action photography.
Yeah.
And from all the sports, surf, skate, windsurf, ski, snowboard, whatever. What you call it, paragliding, rock climbing.
Yeah.
And you met a lot of cool people. Like the photographers are awesome. Really cool event, like well organized, classy. It felt like the night, how do you call it, the Oscars.
Yeah.
It felt like something like that. It was well done.
So cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
I always regret the fact that I didn't expect to win because there was this Janusz Ries, I think, is a photographer from Eastern Europe. I'm sorry, I don't remember from where, but he did this very good shot of you see the close up of a cat, and there was the reflection of a BMXer that was doing some I think tail whip, flatland tail whip, and you see the reflection in the eye of the cat. So everybody loved that shot, like really. But I won, so I didn't expect to win, because that. And actually, it was funny because I got there with all my idea. I was so strong with my idea from the new angle and Aaron Chase and all the thing. And actually, the day we shot it, things aligned so good. It was insane because we got in New York City, in Brooklyn, and we find a parking spot in the right spot, which is already a thing,
Yeah.
Because you see the bridge, that's the spot. Oh, look, a car is exiting right now. So we had the spot that we wanted straight away. Otherwise, like...
All lined up.
Yeah. And then right light, right everything. So I was so pumped with this shot, I like it. Aaron loved it, So I went there and then I see this shot of this guy. And the cat is exactly like the cat I have. My cat Ernesto. So I was like, what the fuck? I flew to New York City, all this fucking shit. And then I had my cat, and I could do the same thing at all. And I could win this contest. So I was all right. So I was like, okay, not sure to be winning. I was still hoping, but didn't happen. And then I won, and I was like, whoa, my God, I can't believe it. And I was a couple of beers in already, so I was partying already. And so I went on stage, and I say thanks to everyone, but I always regret that I forgot to mention they wanted to dedicate this victory to Dave Mirra, but especially to Kelly McCarry that passed away in that year.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do it on stage, and it would have been great because it was the first mountain bike winning shot. And I always regret that. I had that chance that I will never.
Well, you can dedicate it now here on the Brit
This is
podcast.
what I'm doing. This is why I'm pulling this out.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, let's go to the next big win that you got. You won the Whistler Ski and Snowboard Festival Pro Photographer Showdown.
Oh, yeah.
And that's, again, against all different action sport photographers.
Oh, yeah. That's that's another first for mountain biking. Because Sterla got invited back in 2001 or 2, he told me. This event is going on since forever.
Yeah.
At the beginning, they were doing with actual slideshow with, you call it naked? No.
Slides in a trigger button.
Yeah, like that. And the photographer is explaining, And then now it's a
polished show.
So the show, the content is based on your career. It's not a project that you do in a few days, but it's based on
all the shots. You can use any shot you've ever taken.
Your body work, and you can use it. You can mix it, and the very challenging thing that it has to be 9 minutes at least long.
So a couple songs.
Which is an eternity, It's like for everything, 9 minutes of slideshow, it's really hard to keep the attention. So you got to figure out the show to pull together a show.
Your slideshow was amazing because you went through all the ranges. You had, the riding and the stoke and the people hanging out. And then you had some wild action. And then you had like kind of a crash segment. And then you had people with, pain in their face in those down moments. Yeah. And then you had kind of an uplift again of people picking themselves up and then charging again. Yeah. So you made us laugh. You made us cry. You made us laugh again. And I would say it's the best mountain bike slideshow I've ever seen. Wow. And many people have ever seen. Good music and, all the insane things that you've photographed over your career, all put into one slideshow, all the cream of the crop. Yeah. And it is a real emotional, journey that you take people on with that slideshow.
It was a long process, I first, when I won Deep Summer, I started to get invited because it was the same organization. So as default, I was getting invited in this Pro Photographer Showdown for the wildcard, to submit a 3-minute slideshow just to show and maybe being picked. And so I started to think about this thing, This is awesome. At the beginning I was like, this is a snowboard thing. Why they calling me, this is a winter thing. And then I thought, oh no, it's actually, oh look, fucking Chris Parker was in it, fucking French Fred, the skate photographer, and the other surf photographer. And then, all the big names that I followed were in the, so I'm like, well, this is interesting. So I started to follow and start to think. And then at one point, what was that? I think, I was talking with Blake Jorgensen, because I think he won it twice. And I told him, I think I have something cool. I find out a good song. I have a good concept for this thing. And do you know maybe the organizer? Because I didn't get the wildcard invitation this year, but I think I have something that is worth it this year. And he said, yeah, I might know the organizer, which was actually his wife. I didn't know that, yeah. So yeah, I got invited, no, not even as a wildcard, because, I think that somebody else pulled out. Yeah, that was it. Somebody else pulled out last minute, like a month before, and then I said, got invited straight away. And there was a Robin O'Neill, that I respect a lot. She did a killer show. When her show was first, and I was like, oh my god, the bar is really high,
Yeah.
oh my god, So I was like, I was sure about it, I was confident with my slideshow because I said I felt that it was touching everything, and the music was not like two or three songs, was like the same song in two different, was like the acoustic song together that I mixed together with was 9 Inch Nails, and there are two versions of the same song, and I put it together, so it's like a kind of a crescendo kind of thing. It's kind of rising all the song for 9 minutes. It was, so I was sure, but then Robin's show came out. Like, oh my god! Oof, wait a minute, I better just cross fingers at this point. And then there was Zach Noel, big time surf photographer. He's like National Geographic, like it's been around since forever. True legend. They were just interviewing him. It was the only eyes for him. And then there was Marcus Palladino from Vancouver Island, very good cold water surf photographer, and very cool guy. And then there was I don't remember the name. Sorry. Awesome guys. Skateboard photographer from Washington, and Tad something. I can't remember the last name. So like this big crew of big names that's been around the magazine feature forever, and I was the only and first mountain bike photographer with these minor sports, and I took it.
And you won.
Yeah.
I was at Sea Otters. I wanted to be there and party with you because I had a bunch of photos in there, over your career and whatnot.
Oh yeah, man! The first 3 minutes is basically just doing Richie.
Yeah,
yeah.
There's lots of us in there.
Yeah, all the trips that we had done in Dolomite, because the first part was just the journey and kind of the easy ride. I mean, not the easy ride, but the actual mountain bike, the adventure, the nature and exploring the single tracks. Still,
that leads me to the next part, of your career that you've done, sprinkled throughout all the competition and whatnot, and the fest and the rampage and the crankworks and the World Cup downhill, but it's the adventures, the free ride adventures, pure adventures. And Richie and I have done a bunch of trips with you, which is always entertaining. I'm sure for you more than anyone, because me and Richie together are
better on TV and better on Instagram.
Yeah. It's always humorous. Richie's the princess. Remember that one time he needed a massage before we went on the photo shoot? Yeah. And he's like, I'll just be half an hour.
Who doesn't need a massage?
Yeah. I need a massage before we go. I'm tired. And we're like, we're going shooting, dude. The light is popping. And he goes, I need a massage. And we're like, okay, well, see you tonight. And you're like, okay, I'll come. It's always fun. The dynamics, is always funny. And I'm always like not sleeping and going on minimal sleep. And
the first night, the first morning, okay, we're sharing the room. And so we wake up at 7 tomorrow, and then we're going to get breakfast 7:20, and then we go.
Big day, 3,000 meter day.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to put the alarm at 6:50, so I'm going to be the first in the shower, Alarm at 6:50, and I see Tippy that is just going to bed. He's like fully dressed and going to sleep at 6:50.
But got up, went to work, and we did 3,000 meters that day. Got some great photos.
Yeah, you've been able to change a tire on an Envy wheel.
Oh, yeah.
That was a struggle.
Maxxis tire on an Envy wheel. I was struggling. Meanwhile, I thought Wade and Richie were getting covers. I was just racing to get my tire fixed. I was so mad. What about the trip with CG, Gully, and me and Schley that we did with you and Stefano Davarda, who is, one of your favorite guides to use. Awesome little mountain man from the Dolomites.
Good friend of mine. Yeah.
Good friend, Stefano Davarda. If you ever need a guide in the Dolomites, he's your man. He's awesome. But yeah, CG was so mean to Richie that whole trip. And we're up in the Dolomites. We're like camping out in
That's the
refuge.
first time that I haven't heard a word from him. Like
From-
you were just enjoying the show.
Yeah, I was just.
between Richie and CJ. And CJ was giving shit, and Richie was giving shit back
Oh, yeah.
every single.
Because Cedric is funny, but he was being mean to Richie, and they're going back and forth and short jokes and like just trash talk.
Oh yeah,
It was funny.
Exactly, it was trash talking.
Just total trash talk. It was just amazing. Those guys. It's, if you ever have a chance to hang out with Cedric Gracia and Richie, just get the popcorn and sit back and enjoy the show.
I mean, this guy just silent and enjoying the show.
Oh yeah, I was just sat back and was like,
this is awesome. This is really happening.
it was so good. Yeah. Oh man. But that was a cool trip. Like we hung out at some refugios, which are like little mountain huts. But the one we went to, you took us to.
Yeah.
You know, I got to say, with your trips, you're always very well organized, and you got it all set out, and you got the tickets lined up for when there's tickets, or 4x4s, or guides, or places to stay. Very well rehearsed, and so we did this big. You know, we did like lifts, and then we 4x4'd and lifts, and then we got way up in the mountains, and then we did a huge climb, and it's getting dark, and we're way in the middle of nowhere, and then we come over the hill, and there's this giant like 3-floor refugio that was like a mansion.
Everything new.
Yeah.
Brand new, part of it.
Dinner and drinks and music and like,
yeah.
And then
Grappa.
And grappa, or you guys, Red Bull for me. And then we got up at first light, before first light, and we were shooting right away. It was an incredible trip. Stuff like that is just fun.
Yeah, we were like.
And then the one that we did with you, me, Wade, and Richie.
That was the first, the OJ trip.
Yeah,
that was one of the best still.
Dude, that was a 9,000 foot descent.
Oh, yeah.
That's the biggest descent I've ever done in the Dolomites. 9,000 feet.
Wow,
that's like I've been to Peru and done like 6,500 foot descents. You know, and I've done 6,000 foot, 6,500 foot descents. I'm going to Ecuador and there's 6,500 feet, but it was 9,000 feet of down.
Wow.
You know,
yeah.
And that was where Shane McConkey died, actually, base jumping with his skis.
Yeah, the Pizza Boy.
Yeah.
Gruppo del Sella. There's a Sella Massive in Val di Fassa, Italy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where Shane McConkey flew for the last time.
Yeah, it was pretty emotional to be there at that cliff,
Yeah.
But it was so crazy. We got off, the top lift that we got, and then we got off the lift, and then we walked over to the cliff. There's no fences or signs or nothing. There's just like
it's on you, buddy.
Like a 2,000-3,000 vertical foot cliff.
Yeah, boom,
and you could just walk to the edge. And I crawled up to the edge and looked over.
And in the winter, you can just ski off it.
Yeah,
because
there's no other. And then we went about half a kilometer, maybe 3/4 of a kilometer in, and then there was like a little restaurant up there, and there was a 30-foot hole they're digging in behind it, and it had guardrails around it, and warning signs.
Totally. Better be careful.
Yeah, like what's
safety first, buddy.
Yeah, Italy, man, it's something else. Yeah, it was a crazy trip. But these adventures is what you really love, eh? Is getting out there and
exploring.
And
I think exploring is the essence of mountain biking. And again, when you do the trail for the first time, it's the best time.
That's what I think. Yeah, you only have one chance to make a first impression is a saying that I love. And you only have one chance to ride a trail for the first time. And if you can kill a trail or ride it well the first time, there's no better feeling.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Just interpreting and executing.
Free ride.
The line. Free ride, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Or mountain biking,
Or mountain biking. Right. Yeah, it's all mountain biking. So, wow. So, you're a big dog photographer in the competitive world and the free ride world, World Cup, Rampage, Fest,
And catalogs. I do a lot of work for in the winter for brands. And we do catalogs. We do We do advertisements, and did a lot of work for YT the latest year. I got some call from Trek, and that's what I usually do, and some projects maybe in the winter. Yeah.
and you love it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. That's my life.
You know, and then your friends that you've made are mountain bikers, and it's like you're a lifer.
I figured it out in the last year. You know, with the COVID. You know, being I met so many unbelievable person, but the most are around the world. You know, and none in Italy. Not big, yeah, except for Stefano and very few others. But you know, traveling a lot. And in Italy, the problem is not. There's not, yeah, there are Val di Sole, there's a couple of events, but there's no scene. Even if we have some brands like Dainese, Alpine Stars, you know, and there's more like sort of Physique and Solar Oil, you know, we have a good part of the industry. But there's no sponsor ride, not a real scene. So I figured out, you know, in the last year, there was like, I had no much friends, you know, aside of mountain biking, because it's been like 15, 20 years that I left home, basically, you know, and I'm just traveling, and, you know, all my friends are old people, you know. Yeah. They became old guys, you know.
Yeah.
They have families, they have kids, you know, they're fat, I can't propose, hey, let's go ride tomorrow morning, you know, let's go, you know, in Dolomits and ride, you know.
Yeah.
It's a totally different lifestyle, so, yeah.
Of all the mountain bikers that you've shot, who is the easiest to shoot? Like who nails it the first time with a good style, you know, and is like a one and done kind of guy?
Yeah, you're gonna hate me, Richie.
Richie.
Oh
yeah. Yeah.
Richie knows. I mean, like, position wise, style. Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
And who's always scary to shoot? Who's like too crazy?
Because you don't know
what he's gonna do and how hard to push himself, you know, or herself.
Well, that's gonna be that guy named Brett Tippy.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought that was the hardest working. Who's the hardest working guy?
Oh yeah, for sure you. No, unpredictable. I mean, like when you go for a shooting, there's no unpredictable guy because you pretty much.
They're all pros.
Yeah, but you know, I mean, if you're shooting a jump and it's for a shooting, you're gonna talk, you know, you're gonna do Superman now, or you're gonna do whatever. So at the events, but you know, it's nothing really unpredictable anymore. Yeah, Andrea was back in the days, you know. Andrea was like the guy that was you can expect everything on every jump, you know.
Yeah.
When he was doing contests, and so unpredictable maybe. For that, because you don't really know what's happening, for sure, Andrea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who doesn't care about photos? They just want to be a good rider, and they have to shoot because they have to. But who is like, okay, I'll shoot with you?
Well, in these days, a lot of guys, because with the Instagram, the relevance of a professional photographer is fading, especially for the feed of the riders, you know. So there's not much motivation anymore. Like back in the days, you know, it was like, hey, let's go shoot something. So that's like, there was more culture. Now it's more like two riders together. One is filming, the other is riding, you know. One is filming with the phone and the other is riding. And
that's good enough.
And that's it, you know, for the social feed. So
they don't need pro shots all the time.
No, it's just a pain in the ass, and they have to pay us. So
yeah.
No chance.
Yeah, or the sponsor pays or somebody.
Yeah. So they have to, it's all on our level. So, what was the question?
You know, before we end here, I have to do the ride wrap crash of your life, or the best crash, gnarliest crash you've ever seen. This is the ride wrap sponsored crash of your life.
The crash of my life.
What's the best crash you've ever had?
That I ever seen? Well, for sure, I want to name one that ended up good. Well, your was pretty good on the rock.
Oh yeah, flat. Two of them.
Yeah,
for you. Yeah.
No, the other one, the one that we shot together on the other line. The fine paper is here. The other.
Oh, that. Yeah, that had never been written yet.
Head down, just fucking sliding down,
surfing
the
down the mountain,
following you. That was pretty good,
dude. I thought I almost ripped off my nipple on that one. As I was sliding down, I realized I was going to go off like the 12, 13, 14 footer off the end. Did nipples grow back? I don't know. I didn't have to find out. Luckily, I didn't remove mine. I took out the corner of it though. I hit the rocks with my chest and I swung my legs around and I ended up landing on my feet and
remember.
my hands. But
I remember.
I had this big
Remember the blood?
scratch down my chest. I was all freaked out. Like, what if I took off my nipple? Do nipples grow back? Remember, I was all freaked out. And I go, and if nipples don't grow back, can you get artificial nipples? And if you can't get artificial nipples, can you get artificial nipple adhesive? How do you stick them on? Yeah, that was a good one. What's the worst scratch you've ever had?
That I ever had. I never broke anything, but I had a gnarly
Knock on wood, knock on this table.
Yeah. I had a gnarly one in the Dolomites, like a pedal catcher in a open field. Like a male, yeah, like just
With your camera bag or without?
catapult. Yeah, always with the camera back, yeah. Yeah, that was gnarly. It's just like, oh, where am I?
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah. But that was good. And then I couldn't feel, but yeah, nothing really gnarly. I took some, yeah, and also in the alley drop in Whistler with Marcus Flossman, following another pedal catcher. And same thing, actually, opposite direction, but same thing. I lost the feeling of the two fingers in my feet for like the entire
Two
crampons.
toes.
Yeah, 2 toes. Sorry.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then but that's it. And then once I crashed and I had my lighter, and it was the smoothest terrain ever. But I just landed and my lighter just destroyed the whole muscle. I couldn't work for a week, but never really too much. Yeah, blood and shit, but
Pretty lucky.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So moving to the future, we're going to finish this trip. We're going to go ride cinders tomorrow, some gravel mountains, carve some turns. And you're heading back to Laguna.
Yep.
And that's going to be the end of your trip and back to Italy soon.
Yep, totally. Been like 6 weeks.
Yeah, on the road.
Finally, after 1 year and a half since the COVID, couldn't fly back. So it was awesome.
Pretty good to be on the road again, seeing the gang.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then World Cup and then Rampage and all the things that you do the next year.
Absolutely.
Continue on another year. Down the travel of line and life.
Yeah. It's been great to regroup with everyone, see old friends. Really miss them, and like you, Richie and Mark Weir, and it's been great. JP from Marzocchi, and
All the gang, all the mountain bike
absolutely.
family.
Oh yeah,
That's awesome.
totally.
Cool, man. Well, it's great having a talk with you. But before we're done, we have a tradition here. We have a dad joke,
Dad joke.
or any kind of joke
Right.
that we end the show with. So, have you got a joke for us?
Yeah, I have a joke about Richie. Our favorite buddy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Richie's always fun to pick on.
Yeah.
Richie Slay.
Hasn't been much part of the conversation, so we're gonna give the 3 classic jokes.
Oh yeah.
Classic from me and you.
Okay.
So, do you know what I like about Richie?
What?
Nothing.
He's gonna be out there right now going. "Argh!"
Do you know the best thing about Richie?
What?
His eyes.
His eyes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I know why Richie has blue eyes.
Why?
Because his brain is full of water.
He's gonna hate you.
Love you, Richie. You know this.
You know what? I grew up with Richie, and we used to play frisbee at a park called Pioneer Park, and he'd always laugh when we played frisbee, and I never figured out why until I finally did. You know why? Because the grass tickled his balls. We love you, Richie.
We love you, Richie.
Oh, buddy.
Much love, my friend.
Yeah. Dude, nice to have a talk with us.
Totally. Thanks for having me.
Right on.
If somebody's still connected, thanks for watching the whole thing.
If you want to buy some photos from the man, talk to Ali DeLillo, and you can find him on Instagram. And is one of the best. Focus, composition, action, mood, you name it. This is the man. Ali DeLillo. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you.